Yo, what's going on, Wolfpack? Alpha the pack right here. Hope you all have not forgotten. And today in this video, man, I'm gonna be doing a review of Fairy Tale 100 Years Quest, Chapter 65, Elentir. Okay, so I thoroughly enjoyed this chapter. I very much enjoyed this chapter. It was a good time, dog. Twitter exploded. Everybody was going crazy about this chapter. Um, there are a few haters claiming it to be fan service, but forget those niggas. This chapter, I kind of wish that the story would have started progressing earlier, because we kind of got like 3 chapters of just goofiness. So I kind of would have preferred if the story kind of progressing sooner. But well, for what it was, I had a good time with this chapter. I enjoyed it. So, um, uh, the name Elentir was dropped a lot, right? We didn't really learn what Elentir was. Well, I guess it's a place. It's a place of some sort, but whether it be like an alternate world or a different continent, we don't know. But hopefully we find out next chapter, right? Well, in the next 2 to 3 chapters. Hopefully, we find out. But the name Elentir was dropped a lot, and it was dropped a lot by the White Witch. And upon waking up, she immediately tried to white out Max and Warren upon seeing them, which freaked them out more than what they already were. But she couldn't. She realized she couldn't use her magical ability, and so she started talking to Touka, and that's of course where the name Elentir was dropped multiple times. And the White Witch said that everything she did, writing off the Fairy Tale Guild, trying to take control over Aldron, everything she did was it was to save this Elentir place. It was in an attempt to save Elentir, and she then proceeds to beg Touka to try to save Elentir. She wants her and Natsu and the others to try to save Elentir. But uh Toka says that they need to inform Natsu and others of what's going on, but instead of listening, the White Witch realizes that she could still utilize some of Toka's magical powers after being combined with her. And so she utilized a spell called Aqua Area, which is like, I assume it was to send them to this Elentir place. But it suggested that Toka interfered. She tried to stop her from using that spell because I guess it was somewhat dangerous. At least that's what I got from it, because she was freaking out about the White Witch using the spell. So I assume it was somewhat dangerous, right? And so when the White Witch disappeared, it's implied that she did something to the spell, because when the White Witch emerged, she realized that she wasn't in Elentir and she couldn't use her magical power, which I'll get into in a second. But when the White Witch used the spell and disappeared, not Natsu, Lucy, Gray, Erza, Wendy, all of them that were minding their own business in Jamel, they vanished, and they ended up. Sorry about that. Well, they were all minding their business in Jamel. They vanished, and they ended up in Edolas. And they ended up in Edolas, which is the best part of this chapter. Seeing Edolas again. Now, talking about this Elentir for the moment, right? I'm kind of curious. I'm really curious as to, assuming it is like an alternate world, like Edolas, right? I went. It'll be interesting if it was just another continent, but I'm leaning more towards of another world, what sounds more interesting, right? But assuming it is in alternate world, I'm wondering if that's where Touka and the White Witch came from. Because originally, when I first read through the chapter, I was thinking, um, could Edolas be where they're originally from? But then, how would they know about this Elentir place? So maybe, especially since the White Witch didn't really know her surroundings. She didn't know where she was. So it's more likely that they're from this Elentir place. But then the question will be raised: how did they get in? Firstly, how did they get in Fiore? And now, well, we know why they're causing havoc in Galtina, or while they were causing havoc in Galtina. But now it's like, how did they get in Fiore? You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. Hopefully, we get more answers to that sooner rather than later. Um, it's a very interesting setup. You know what I'm saying? I'm really thinking it's an alternate world. But maybe it was. Well, I was gonna say it could have had something to do with the anima, but of course, Edolas doesn't even have a magic anymore, so the anima couldn't even be a factor. But moving on. I'm starting to ramble. Um, So Natsu and the crew appear in Edolas. Yeah, sorry. So the crew appears in Edolas, and they're freaking out because they can't utilize their magical power. And while they're trying to figure out what's going on, they run into this little girl who has a striking resemblance to Lucy. She looks exactly like our Lucy, right? And the little girl runs up to Lucy and says, "Are you my mom?" And this freaks the crew out. They're all like, "What? Lucy has a child?" And Natsu being an idiot, Natsu being an idiot that he is, he says, "Lucy laid an egg." Okay, so talking about Natsu for a second, right? I know Natsu's stupid, but I really hate how stupid he acts sometimes, right? Because early on in 100 Years Quest, when Levy told everyone she's pregnant, Natsu went up to Levy and said, "Hey, Levy, you laid an egg? You're having a child? Is it mine?" Like, yes, Natsu, the kid is yours. Unless you smashed Levy, the kid is yours. Like, I hate how stupid this. I know it's supposed to be comedy, but I really hate how stupid Natsu acts sometimes. It's it's so stupid, I swear. But after that encounter, first of all, let me say I really enjoy it. We found out the little girl name is Nasha. I was under the impression that her name would be Nashi, but I kind of like the sound of Nasha better. I like the overall design of Nasha. You see that she looks exactly like Lucy, but you can also see some of Natsu's characteristics in her. You know, especially her wild, spiky hair. I really like the way she's drawn. She really does look like a fusion of Natsu and Lucy. Adorable. Then we see Edolas Lucy. We find out that it's been an Edolas. We find out that it's been 9 years. 9 years has passed, and wow, like I could guess you could say 9 years has passed in Earthland too. But for the crew, considering everything that happened on Timber Island, them being sealed for 7 years, for them technically it's been like what 3 years. It's been like what for them 3 years. And Edolas Lucy points this out. She's like, why haven't you guys aged? Does time flow differently there? Technically, you know, they have to dealing with a crazy dark guild and a psychopathic world-ending dragon. That caused a lot of issues. You know what I'm saying? But it's basically just a feel good moment seeing the Edolas crew again. I really enjoyed seeing Earthland's Edolas counterparts. It was a real good time. We find out that well, obviously we find out that Nasha is Edolas Lucy's and Edolas is Natsu's daughter. Edolas, Lucy, and Natsu got married. They had Nasha. We also find out that the Edolas versions of Gray and Juvia, they got married. They have a son. His name is I think it's I want to say Greg, but it's probably Greg. I think his name is Greg. He looks he looks more like Gray than Juvia, but it was cool seeing that. It's cool seeing that while the ships aren't being canonized in the main worlds, like in Earthland, but they're being a thing in Edolas. At least they're happening in some way, shape, or form, and I really appreciate it. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting it to happen so soon. Like it was obvious that the ships were slowly being confirmed, but I didn't expect them to to have kids or for us to see some of the crew's kids or all of the crew's kids until the end of the manga. So I really enjoyed seeing the son of Grand Juvia. I enjoyed seeing the daughter of Natsu and Lucy. It brought a smile to my face, man. It was a good time. I really enjoyed that moment, right? So everyone's chilling, the Edolas crew. You're talking about how the Fairy Tale Guild in Edolas is like a courier guild, which they deal in selling carriages because there's no cars. We also find out that the kingdom is in the works of making cars, and Edolas Natsu was all like he can't wait to have one, and Edolas Lucy was all like, no, you don't need a car because you have to weigh it to extreme. And of course, we all know how Edolas Natsu acts when he's in the car. A complete douchebag. I'm kind of wondering how that relationship between Edolas Lucy and Edolas Natsu works out because Lucy and Edolas was always she came off as the crazy wild one, while Natsu was like a scaredy cat. So I'm wondering how those two even got together and made a child. And it's funny too because they're like polar opposites from their Earthland counterparts, and I guess it's kind of play on how the characters in Earthlands act. But Juvia showed no interest in Gray, while Gray was obsessed with her. So I'm kind of curious as to what changed, what went down that led to them having a child. You know what I'm saying? I would love to see a side manga of the event to Edolas to see what went down with them. You know what I'm saying? But moving on. It was just basically just a feel good chapter with the Edolas crew. The very end of the chapter we see Edolas Lucy talk to Erza, and she says that Mystogan might have an idea as to how and why they got brought back to Edolas. But she also says that Erza's counterpart, Nightwalker, is there with the Mystogan, but Erza should avoid her. That something's dangerous going on. So it seems like the next chapter may be focused on Erza and Erza Knightwalker. Kinda curious, but I want to find more out about Elentir. I want to know more about Elentir. Like I'm sure the thing with Erza and Nightwalker may be somewhat interesting, but I kind of want to focus more on the story now. You know what I'm saying? It's been weeks, and the story is just now progressing. You know, so I kind of just want to focus more on that. I don't really want this chapter was cool. It was nice to see. I really enjoyed seeing the Endless Crew again. I enjoyed seeing the Endless Crew, but I don't want to spend any much more time just goofing off. I want the story to just keep on progressing, and I just have this feeling like Erza seeing Nightwalker just might be a whole bunch of pointless stuff. But I just want to move on with the story now. You know what I'm saying? I want to see Selene because when we saw her after Aldrin was defeated, it looked like she was going to begin to make some moves, but we haven't seen her since. You know, so I want to see Selene again. I want to know what's up with the Dragon Eaters because it looks like they were getting ready to make moves too. Especially with Suzaku. But yeah, that was basically the end of the chapter. Talked about the White Witch being brought to Edolas, and she was freaking out because she couldn't use magic, and she was trying to go to this Elentir place, but you know she didn't know what she was. Once she ended up in Edolas, you know, she was confused on what happened. I still believe that was Touka's doing, As to why she did what she did, I don't know. Hopefully, we get some answers on that. Um, if they really are from this Elentir place, I'm curious as to why she would have stopped the White Witch from trying to help Elentir if it really is in danger. I don't know. I'm kind of curious on really what's going on over there. But overall, man, I enjoyed this chapter. There were some people complaining about it, saying it was fan service, but whatever. Forget those niggas. Forget them. This chapter was a pretty entertaining chapter. I liked it. I liked it a lot. Hopefully we don't spend too much time in Endless. Like I said, I want the story to progress more, and maybe I'm kind of hoping in this chapter, while I suppose it is a Selene arc, because we're supposed to be dealing with the Moon God Dragon now. I kind of want to see an image of what's his name, Viernus, the Gold God. I kind of want to see an image of him, because I'm pretty sure in each arc we got an image of the next God Dragon. So I'm hoping we get an image of Viernus, see what he looks like. Because I'm really curious on how he looks in his whole design. I'm really impatient, so I want to see Selene's dragon form. Hopefully, we get a shot of that soon. You know what I'm saying? Maybe she could just be flying through the air, trying to track down the fairy tale crew for all I care. I don't care. I just want to see her dragon form. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. Um, Peace on my wolf pack. Your alpha has spoken, and I will see you all in the next video.